Hi, my name is John Anstett, and when I think of events in my life that have caused my faith to grow, I thought a lot about the important invitations that I've received. I grew up in a Catholic family. I went to Catholic schools. I went to Mass every week, but I really didn't have a strong faith in Jesus. And about 15 years ago, I received my first important invitation to go to Promise Keepers for Men at the Silverdome. And I wasn't really sure about this. It wasn't my thing, but I went with my cousin Scott, and he had this amazing faith. He really reflected Jesus in his life and when I was with him. And so I decided to go, and we sat on the main floor, and I was surrounded by all these guys with this amazing faith. And I walked out of there that day realizing that there was something missing in my faith. A couple years later, I got my next important invitation. I was at a scouting event for my youngest son, and I got an invitation to join a men's group, a Bible study at St. Denis. And right away I said, I don't know if I can make that. I've got to take my oldest son out to Catholic Central. I got carpool commitments, couldn't make it work. And 3 weeks later, I got that same invitation again. And this time I sat down with my wife, Joan, and we figured out a way to make it work. And 13 years later, I'm still in that group today, and we meet at Guardian Angel. And this is such a great group. It's a bunch of guys learning and growing in their faith and really trying to become leaders of faith in their family. And the one thing I learned from this invitation is that the more time and effort that I put into my faith, the more Jesus revealed himself to me. In that same men's group, another guy challenged me or invited me, I should say, to morning mass and daily mass. And at first I said, I can't do that. I get to work early in the morning. I need that time to get started. And I don't think I could ever give up that time. It would be really difficult. And I remember him saying to me, if you don't think you give up that time, that Jesus isn't going to give you something even greater in return. And I've been going to Mass now a couple years in the morning, and it's such a key and important part of the start of my day. And actually, it's helped me to manage the stresses of my job even better. The last important invitation I received is to join the Teams of Our Lady, which is a ministry for married couples. And it's a great ministry to pursue these different endeavors, holy endeavors, with 5 to 7 other couples and a priest or a deacon. And it's been such a great way to grow in faith with your spouse and to really realize the wonderful blessings and graces that come from the sacrament of marriage. And all these invitations, they lead to an important choice that you make. And each time I chose Christ. And in that choice, I realized that the small changes in the habits of my life just produced a tremendous benefit in the growth of my faith. And I was recently thinking about this. I was at Adoration, and it's outside now because of COVID. And in the spring, there was that big mural over the Eucharist with Divine Mercy. And there was Jesus with his arms wide open. And there's that invitation again. Here he is, the Savior of the world. And what is everybody's response to that? What's their response to that invitation? And I saw people in their cars at Adoration in the parking lot. I saw a guy walking his dog with genuflect in front of the Eucharist. I saw a guy riding his bike make the sign of the cross. And I even saw a guy on both knees out in the parking lot praying to Jesus. But what I saw most of is people just driving right by, people on their phones, late for work, looking really anxious. And so my prayer for all of us today is that we slow down, that we look for these invitations of Christ in our life, and that we choose Christ. And that one day we can hope to live our life in a way that reflects that invitation to others. And my challenge for all of us is to have you invite someone to an experience, an invitation with Christ, and watch the wonderful blessings that come from that. Thank you.